My time has come, we've had some fun.
It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Oh, a little elevator music. Good morning. Happy Saturday morning. This is the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode number 148. You know where to find us. David, we do it for the
Transportainment.
Kaboom. Happy Saturday morning. You can find us on all the platforms. Our views are just purely news driven. Don't express the views of any entity or anybody other than it's a show taking up news stories. David B., happy Saturday morning, brother.
Good Saturday morning to you, producer Tony, the producer of all producers, the producer extraordinaire. And hearing that elevator music, I think I'm on the 5th floor. I'm going to hop off here, and it is the Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go after Ship's Gonna Happen week. Great place to go to unwind and kind of chat it up with the locals. We were in there last night and kind of just, I'll openly admit, we just kind of found ourselves immersed in the whole Friday evening of Mr. David Meek playing the piano and Jen and her crew and everybody doing their thing. And it was, absolutely outstanding. And it was packed for as small as that place is, it was just absolutely phenomenal. So if you're ever in Indy or you need a spot to go, hit up the Great Divide, 743 East New York Street. They're a proud sponsor of us. They got us a little billboard time on the south side of Indy, and we appreciate everything that they do for us. Producer Tony, and I mentioned this last week, my friend, still a little bit of spring in the air. I'm liking kind of where we're going, sun coming up, even though we're springing forward, which help me understand, why do we even do this? Is this something that we still need to be doing, or is this something that I just don't get it? I absolutely don't get why we do spring forward, fall back, blah, 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 blah. And if you got an answer, I'd love to hear it, but I don't understand it.
So we were told when we were kids that they did it for the farmers, right? Do you remember that story?
Okay.
Like,
I kind of, yeah.
They gave them more daylight in the harvest time, right?
Yeah, but
that's not the real answer. I discovered this not too long ago.
All right. Okay. I'm anxious to hear.
Yeah, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator, I think the last moments he was a senator, introduced a bill to get rid of it. So, so then he gave some historical background to it, I believe. And then, so I found it somewhere, either in his research from his article, and I like to do research. So anyways, it basically started during World War One.
Okay.
So what happened was you had different daylight hours, right? Obviously throughout the country, and they needed to produce weapons, and manufacturing needed to really step up. So they wanted to put everyone on the same kind of time zone. So then there was no light back then, right? No powered light. You did things off candle, right? So they wanted as much daylight as they could get. So they actually extended that through creating daylight savings time to enhance our military output for World War One. And they just simply never changed it. In researching that, I also found out, which I was astonished by, that we're not supposed to pay federal taxes. That started, like, they start this during, like, Lincoln started it for the Civil War to pay for it. And then they brought it back in World War One to pay for World War One. Then they stopped it. And then they brought it back for World War Two and never ended it. So
now we're
taxed to death. Now we're taxed to death.
And so many whatever dollars in debt as far as the country, right?
Right. So it never paid down shit, right? So that's interesting. So, and I think,
is it so? Going back to that, is it necessary now, or is it? Is it? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just don't get. Is it actually a necessity to this day now to be observing daylight saving time.
I don't think it is at all. And it probably wasn't needed once America was equipped with lights, right?
Right. In the industry that you and I are in, does it matter?
It doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
It
I
doesn't
didn't think
matter.
so. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me.
It only matters. To your point, I have a customer that I communicate that they have a lot of locations, just like you have, but I have to communicate with this one location in Iowa. So I have to remind myself my 5 o'clock isn't their 5 o'clock, right? So
it's their 4 o'clock.
It's their 4 o'clock. So they're still waiting for pickups to get done. Maybe a late delivery, and they'll call me, and and I'm like, hey man, they're still working. So, in our world, it never ends anyway, right?
Sorry,
it never ends. So, and I don't mind it because they're good people, and it's the right thing to do. It's what I get paid to do. But I don't know where that bill is. I didn't look at. I don't know where that bill is. I wanted to research it. Probably should, but this has been brought up before and it's been killed in the floor.
So considering where you grew up and considering where you live now, and there's no wrong answer to this question. It's your own opinion.
Yeah.
Would you prefer the Central Time, or would you prefer, based off of geographically where you grew up? Because in my head, I feel that we should be Central Time.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But do you prefer the sun up later Eastern Time, which is whatever. I don't know. But what are your thoughts, or do you care? Or
I was ecstatic when Mitch Daniels, the former governor of Indiana, put us.
Tony, I'm going to hang up on you.
Put us on the Eastern Time zone because. But back then, hear me out though, because back then, so where I've worked at, those companies' headquarters were in the Eastern Time zone. So back in the day, Roadway, when you're in Illinois, the corporate office is closed, and
back in my day,
you couldn't get things done. You had to wait till the next 4. Your day literally ended at 4 o'clock. So I was happy once they did that. I was concerned, obviously, but I, me, I'm a hot weather guy, and I like that daylight, the hot sun. So I like it when it's light out to 9:30. It's just epic for me. I love it. It's like my favorite time of the year. But I think we need to be on Eastern, and I think the world moves to Eastern Time zone based on the business. Right, like a lot of the business flows from the East Coast. Maybe not so much anymore, but for a long time there, it seemed like the more products go in and out of the East Coast, I should say, than anywhere in the country. So they kind of drive. New York kind of drives that messaging, I guess, in DC, right? And they're on Eastern Time zones. So I mean,
okay. All right. I got you. Florida. I mean, most of Florida, not all of Florida.
Right.
It's Eastern. So yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I see it. I mean, I see what you're saying as far as business is concerned, but man, all right. I got you. Just not my, not my.
I can see though.
But
I can see if you want Central Time.
But if we were in Boston, I mean, so let's talk. I mean, if we live Boston, or even maybe not so much New York City or close to New York City. I mean, their sun ain't going down at night. It's just my thing of like, why in the F is the sun going down in between 9 and 9:30 at night? It's just, or whatever. It just, but whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, it served its purpose, I think. But so you're saying if they came out, you'd like them to say we're all on Central.
The beginning of the day. I think the beginning of the day, just in my head, and I'm a morning guy. So, I mean, we're two completely different people. I'm a morning dude where I think, if the sun's coming up at 4:30 in the morning or whatever time it would be, hell yeah. Going down at 9. But that's just me. I mean, it's still the same amount of hours. I just think it should be front loaded versus back loaded. But
it just seems like there's more activity when it's lighter out.
I mean, I get it. I guess I get it.
I wonder what the animals think. You think the animals give a shit?
They don't. I don't. Nope. Nope. They still poop wherever they want
don't
to.
care.
They don't have to. You know, they're going to go. I'm going to take a poo right here. And
The only time zone, the only entity in this world concerned about a time zone is the freaking human, right?
And it's an ongoing. I mean, it comes up
It's ongoing.
This time of year, twice a year. It comes up twice a year.
It's ridiculous.
When it's like, why do we do this? And I'd be all for. I mean, Indiana never used to, but now, you know, like you said, it's Daniel's. Oh, you know, you're like, why? You know, Arizona doesn't do it. Hawaii doesn't do it. Whatever. I mean, I just don't get. This is just at that time of year where I'm like, I don't understand what we're doing. So,
well, I always liked when the military, in the military, we always did. You did the days. You really didn't even know. When I was in the Persian Gulf, I didn't even really know what damn day it was. What if it was February or March? I just knew what the Julian date was. You know what that is?
I think I'm gonna need some help with that.
That's the calendar. There's 365 days in a year. So January 1st is day one.
Okay, so you knew hypothetically, like today was 140, even though it's not day 140.
Right.
You referred to
Yeah.
Okay.
Like today would be 67. So you didn't know. You just knew you woke up, it'd be 68, 69. You say, what day is it? And they'd say 70, whatever. And anyway, so you knew Christmas would fall, you know, in the 350s somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, then we had to create the stupid months, right? And then everybody gets a month.
It also makes you think, though, too. I mean, you know, like you said, today's date, whatever, 67 or whatever 67. It is. But you're like, okay. I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense or whatever.
I think it makes it more impactful because you think like.
Makes you think.
Yeah, because you're like, man, so it's day 67. Wow, we only have 300 days left. You know, where then you're looking at the months, you're like, God dang, we're only in March. Right.
Tell you what, it's hard for me to understand that we're in March. In my head, I'm like,
I know.
Well, today's the 8th. I'm like, What do you mean today's the 8th? And what month? Because January took forever to get through, and February went by super quick. And then now you're like, at least in my head, I'm like, what damn day is it? You know, I knew it was Saturday when I woke up this morning, but I'm like, what day? You know.
See, I had to.
Anyway.
No, you made me think here because
it hurts.
Yeah, my birthday is coming up, and so my birthday.
Happy early birthday!
We're going to celebrate my birthday on day 68
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Congratulations! Happy 29th.
I know, man.
Yeah,
you know, I'm really,
29th.
really, you know, Dave. I wanted to ask you what was it like when you hit 30 because I'm a little concerned about myself hitting 30 next year.
Yeah, you're not ever going to hit 30. You're always going to be perpetually 29. So you're good, man. You don't ever have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about building a shed that you didn't want to build, and you don't have to worry about, you know, losing all the hair that you didn't want to lose or growing wherever it's not supposed to. So you're going to be perpetually 20. You have nothing to worry about.
You know, I
absolutely nothing to worry about.
Oh man. So brother, I got a little topic for us here to start with.
I got one too. Go ahead.
You want to go first?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. Because I'm having a tough time wrapping my head around mine, but let's go with you first. So,
all right. So topic number one here was so we're all aware that the 47th president of the United States did a no overtime, or no taxes on overtime, right? Things like that. So there's the industry that Dave and I are in. A lot of truckers don't get paid overtime. So the Senate has a bill that they've presented. The House Senate reintroduced trucker overtime bill. This article comes from John Gallagher, Thursday, March 6, 2025. Owner-operator backed legislation would eliminate labor law provision blocking extra pay. I forgot about this, and I work in this industry, but a lot of truckers don't get paid overtime. It looks like it's a bipartisan bill, so it's got a lot of support. So I'm pretty happy for the truckers this morning. It looks like there is going to be a congressional and Senate bill, and I think that it gets to the president's desk, which he supports no pay on overtime, right? I think he's going to sign this thing. And so it looks like our drivers will get some more pay. I hope we don't curtail that by changing the driver hours, right?
So okay. So in my, well, we're both in the same industry, but my I'm a little naive, or my naivete or whatever to that side of the business. Do your local P&Ds get it automatically, or do your P&Ds not get them? Or I mean,
I think they get them. I think they get them, but the hours, the
because they're
overtime
hourly.
hours don't.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, because they're overtime hours. Usually it's 40 hours in America overtime. I think they're at 50, 55. No way. Yeah, I'm thinking that. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure, and I'll get clarification and follow up on the next podcast. But
I mean, so in my head,
well,
there isn't a P&D that doesn't get overtime. Or wait, all right, that's not right either. There probably isn't a P&D where they're not getting over 40 hours, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Right? Or
yeah.
I mean, I can't see a P&D not working at minimum 40. Unless in my head I'm missing something, but I can't. I just don't even think that that's a thing.
So no, typically P&D drivers do not receive overtime pay because they are considered motor carriers under the Federal Labor Standards Act, FLSA.
What? Which
exempts them from overtime requirements with their work, directly impacts the safe operation of the vehicle and interstate commerce, meaning most delivery drivers are not eligible for overtime pay. Yeah, this exemption.
That's messed up.
Yeah, allows drivers. No. So it just, it's a little gray there. So I'm glad that this got introduced, because you know what? You should get paid for what you do.
As you should. Yeah. So then do I get it?
Your salary.
I'm kind of joking when I say this, and I'm not joking when I say this. Are my rates going up? Because not that I don't want to. I mean, everybody's deserving of whatever, but
I think we pay our drivers at 50 hours. I'm pretty sure. Overtime. I think we accommodated
but
that.
It should be. But it should. To your point, though, I mean, it should be 40, though, right? I mean, that's not fair, dude. Or at least in my head, that's not fair that you're not.
Yeah,
they're not
50.
Getting OT. Yeah.
Let me see something else.
It's not fair that I'm
look at some of the competition here, real quick, David.
There's competition.
Yeah. So it looks like all of our industry does it about the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's about the same. Yeah, it sure is. So,
wow. Well, good for them. I mean, they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was a thing. I just automatically ought to assume.
Yeah.
I met. I'm gonna say this now because I'm gonna forget it if I don't say it now. I met old Broadway or the old yellow dock dude, Chris. Do you remember Chris?
Watkins
was also a bug man. Also did.
Yeah, Chris Watkins.
Dude, what a good dude.
Yeah,
man.
he and I go way back.
We just bumped into one another, kind of like random, and I almost felt like I was talking to Buffy the entire time, even though I know I wasn't talking to Buffy. He just had that kind of that persona about him, and oh man, what a good conversation. He's a good dude. He remembered you. He remembered Beaner. He remembered Alex Rona, and just everybody. And we just had a legit. You know, you and I have talked multiple times in the past about we're in a fraternity, and I think freight is a fraternity no matter what side of the business you're on, whether you're a driver, whether you're sales, whether you're on my side or whatever, you know, we're in a fraternity. And when you just start talking to somebody about the business, it just boom, it just resonates. And he was a good dude, man. He legit was a good dude. I think he said he spent 20 years at Yellow or whatever, but man, yeah, good guy. He was a really good dude, man.
Yeah, I worked with
Just
him
this
on the dock
Yep.
for a long time.
Yep.
He's one of the best guys I worked with.
You
Pretty
could
smart.
tell and also you could tell he had, or at least I think you can tell that he legit had that just work ethic about him or whatever, where he just like boom, boom, boom. And he mentioned when we kind of, he went his way, I met my way or whatever. He goes, let's get together in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's get together. He knew Tim.
Yeah.
He knew everybody.
Yeah.
It was, just a good conversation.
Oh man. Yeah.
You could tell, and you and I have talked in the past about that roadway mentality or whatever, kind of the good old boy, whatever. And he was legit. And you could tell I'm like, dude, you had to just fit right in. I mean, based off of, your, what a perceived work ethic and a perceived, going about your day, I guess, if that makes sense. But man, he was a good dude, legit good dude. We did shots together. So, hell yeah, you fit right in with me then. So, yeah, good dude.
Yeah, he and I worked on many, many nights on the dock together in the cold weather. Yeah, he was
on Holt Road, right?
Yeah, he was a very good worker, a smart guy. Learned a lot from him. He was there longer than me. I just didn't want to work the dock forever. So
I mean, well, who does?
No, I know, but some
go ahead.
Some people have a brain for it. And he was one of those people that had a knack for it. He was, so when you strip inbound, like on the terminal for a trucking carrier, you have an inbound and outbound city dock. You have different sections of the dock, and to me, the hardest part to work was the inbound side, because those loads, it's easier to build a load than to unload a load. And I just didn't like working inbound, because the loads took longer to break. And then it just took more energy and effort, it seemed like, to get the inbound mastered than the outbound. And he was really, really good at the inbound. He preferred to stay in the inbound, where I would prefer to work the outbound. So, because it was just easier for me mentally, but for him, it didn't bother him.
To your point with that, some of my more tranquil days are when I'm on the dock. Like when I come in at midnight every day just because I choose to, not because I have to. And if I'm on the dock between like midnight and 4 a.m., dude, give me that time. Give me that. And I like that. It's that tranquility part of the day. I don't have to overly think about whatever. And yeah, hell yeah.
I think he was a roadway incident commander too, which that was you got to know your shit, man, to be that. And that's someone that responds to emergencies and accidents on the dock. So you
could tell that he definitely has in my first, even though I've just met him that just past week or whatever, but he was sharp. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
So
I told him, I feel like I'm talking to Buffy, and I mean that respectfully, because Buffy, as I looked up to, I always thought Buffy was just like, I mean, if drivers were ever a part of sales, Buffy should be that guy where he would get you business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's drivers that could easily be like detract business, because whatever.
You can have some drivers that they're very, very fortunately haven't had that happen very often, but you're right. You can have some drivers do some crazy things, man, to the customer.
That can hurt it can hurt or help or hurt your business, and you want them to be on the helps. Definitely want them to be on the help side of the business. So, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Producer Tony, my week went FUBAR this week.
What the?
Absolute foobar. And I didn't expect this at all. Did not expect this at all. And I'm, you expect, when you get in the routine of every day and every year and every whatever, just kind of chugging right along. And was it Wednesday? I want to say it was Wednesday. So we do some importing out of both borders, out of both Mexico and Canada, and just the immediate F and foo bar when those tariffs went in on, again, I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah,
I don't
Wednesday.
remember
I think it was Wednesday, David.
Dude, what a mess.
So what happened, man?
Absolute mess. So our costs went up 25%.
Whoa.
When your costs go up 25%, everybody's pushing that panic button. Like, whoa, hold on. And I know that we knew, and I know that we knew that it was going to happen or whatever, but I don't know that anybody thought that it was going to happen.
Right. Like they'd work something out.
Take sure. Yeah. And I pushed numbers. I mean, Wednesday, both countries, we had shipments coming in from both countries, and I routed both of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you're on your own. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm on my own? They're like, it's your game. It's not our game. And I'm like, okay. All right. I think we got this.
Mm-hmm.
When you push, I mean, when you punch numbers in or whatever, and you have to take that 25%. Oh, good Lord, dude, that's a lot of money. I mean, in your head, you might not think 25% is a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
So explain this. So if you're getting it, so it's a 25% of the gross of the whole thing, or is it? So it's 20. So whatever the shipment.
So not of the freight value, of the dollar value of the product. So, which is still a lot of money, legitimately. So I'm just going to go. I'll just spitball here. So coming out of Canada into us, 24 grand worth of product now is 30 grand worth of product. That's a big fucking, sorry. That's a big increase. And then coming out of Mexico, it's not obviously, but it's a little cheaper, but it's still, when you're get socked with that, man, good. It just goes, I mean.
So would it change your purchasing?
It was like somebody, it's a good question.
Would it change you?
Because we've had, I don't know, it's the right word. That department's like, here, Dave, handle it. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What? Do you understand? I don't know that. To your point, I'm not so sure it's set in with some people quite yet or whatever. I just don't.
He gave an extension on the auto side.
Okay.
They gave them in Canada did some kind of extension, but I thought maybe that would impact it all. But I'm just surprised that. So let me ask you this. So what does that mean for your company? Will they try to offset that with an increase?
Very good. Excellent question. So absolute excellent question. So what I saw, or what I've seen so far, like looking at our purchasing, coming at what we're going to be doing soon, or buying what we've already got in place, is immediately the vendor out of Canada was eliminated. Like, this is the last load will be delivered. I think this Tuesday. This week sometime, and then everything got shoved to Mexico, and I'm like, okay. And then in my head, I'm like, so this is the route. Not that I don't know.
It's just a change, right? So it's like
boom. To your point, yeah.
But it's going to cost you. So it costs you more. It's going to cost you more days of travel, right? So.
Oh yeah, at least probably 4 days.
Yeah,
at least 4 more days.
Maybe even a week. Maybe even 7 to 10 days, probably.
Fair. Because it's 2. So it's to your point. It's 2 days coming out of just to get to the border. It's 2 days just to get to the border, And so it's 2 more. So yeah, you're right. A week. Yeah. Yep.
Depending on the day, it
Just,
could be
I
longer.
guess it's just not something you, again, I mentioned it earlier or whatever. I mean, we knew it was going to happen, but then when it does, and I mean, I'm a number, I'm a numbers.
Yeah.
When I push, oh, good God, dude. I mean, and then that all gets trickled down too, though.
Well,
So it gets
yeah.
trickled down. It's
Well,
not,
that's why. Yeah, that's why
it's
I'm
not,
asking you, because I think if
yeah.
your company is going to take rate increases, and they're going to see that all throughout the industry, you're going to see. Then it's going to be a snowball effect. Everyone's going to have to take rate increases to offset the cost.
It's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Carriers are, right? You are. You're going to have to do it. I mean, going to have to make that dollar work like it did before, right?
Right. And to your point with that, I'm already hearing rumbles or rumors that our main customer that buys that product is already shopping shit around. Excuse me. Already shopping, like going away from us because they need to look to get it.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
No, yep, 100%, completely get it. But then
there's a cause and an effect. I always wondered what the effect of this would be. You know what I mean?
To your point, I maybe to be determined. I don't know, but initially, good God, man. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, times however many loads. That's a lot of money.
So how much would that? How much would that, if it stayed the same? How much would that increase the budget for the year? Do you think? It would be. I don't know if. Well, it would be interesting to see if every order is 25%, right? More.
Yeah, and that's just on.
I wonder how much that's going to increase your overall yearly spend in dollar amount. I mean, you're going to have to charge more.
Yep. And again, that customer that's our main customer is a big customer. So if you lose them based off of, or they could pinch a penny here or pinch a penny there, and understandably so, you're like, just give me 12 more years.
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, I don't know, man. It's gonna,
right. That's big stuff.
Costs don't, I can't think of a time where cost of, I mean, we, admittedly so, though. I mean, we are in the industry I'm in, we take increases and decreases. I mean, if it warrants a decrease, they'll put that, they legitimately put it out to the customer of like, we're going to take a decrease, and they also take it to the customer where we're going to take an increase. It's kind of like when you go put gas in your car,
right? Yeah, goes up and down a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's cyclical, I guess, or whatever.
Right.
But you don't want. I mean, but this kind of increase, holy cow, dude, man, gosh, that just bit you right in the backside. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to go on about it, but just it was that shock. I mean, it legit, and I'm still kind of like, wait, what just happened?
I know, because I dug a huh? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dave.
Go ahead. Go. No. I because I don't want anybody to lose their job, and you can see that. All right, we got to cut these costs somehow.
Well, and that's that's the pain, right? And that's the pain of, I did some research in this and looked back, and
okay.
McKinley was big on the tariffs. So at one point we didn't pay any federal income tax. The government made all of its money off the tariffs.
Okay.
So and like we said earlier, they imposed those taxes during wartime to pay for the war. But America was its richest per person in this country under the McKinley administration. When we didn't have taxes, it was just strictly tariffs. But I don't know, in this economy, this type of the world is advanced from President McKinley's day, right? So, yeah, you just there's always going to be a cause and effect. And I think they did say there's going to be some pain, but I didn't know it'd be, you just, how painful is it going to
No,
be?
sir. In my head, if I'm the MMFC here, I'm like, what's happening? And I don't want anybody to lose their job. Never. I mean, no matter what I think of you as a person, I never want anybody to lose their job, just because that's what it takes to, build a life or whatever. But God.
Well, that's what'll happen because they're
Ouch.
going to have to offset costs. And if the economy doesn't pick up, if it doesn't pick up from where it's at right now, because the trucking industry is we're seeing stagnant. Everybody thinks the third quarter, but I mean, if this continues on, I mean, got to do what's right, I guess. But at the same time, it's going to be painful, and it's going to be, like you said, unfortunately, hopefully it doesn't get that deep into the economy where it's just mass layoffs, because then I don't know what purpose it's really served, because it will wreak havoc into the economy in all sectors.
I'm going to the at the end of this month, I'm going to the Mid America Truck Show in Louisville, and I want to sit in on, and hopefully they have something about this they're normally really good about having presentations about industry stuff. I legitimately want to sit in on this topic if they have it, because I want to know more. I want to know exactly what the pluses and the minuses could be, and I think in my head this certainly would have to be a topic at the Mid America Truck Show. At least you would think it would be, or whatever, just because of how impactful it is on everybody.
Well, I mean, you just gave an example of it. Somebody lost a load heading from Canada to Indianapolis. And now that load's coming from Mexico, right? So it's impacted somebody there already.
100% to your point. Day one or day whatever, all those POs, all of those open POs from Canada into us wiped out and all sent down south.
And Canada's America's number one trading partner.
Yeah.
So
probably vice versa too, right? Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Or you would think it would be, at least.
It is.
Wow. Well, it just, again, I don't want to keep harping on this, but I've been itching to discuss it with somebody, especially you. I'm like, man, just help me understand how this is even remotely going to work. I mean, if it does, great. But help me understand how, because that initial wham, when you're pushing numbers or you're crunching whatever, Jesus Christ, you're like,
Mexico's number 2.
Okay.
And so what I remember, the auto companies that were going to move to Mexico decided with these tariffs they weren't going to move. And so I think Kokomo ended up actually getting revamping in a plant from GM.
Okay, great.
So
so then do we, and I'm not trying to be if I'm devil's advocate, or I'm not trying to whatever here, but yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's all good. I'm not gonna. I mean, all right. So they're let's just on the low end, $40 an hour worth of whatever, and you're gonna pay. We're all right with continuing to pay. I'm not pooping on anything. I mean, $80,000 for a new vehicle, or. And I'm not saying that's not what I'm not saying they don't deserve whatever.
It's crazy.
Dude,
no way.
I almost feel, and it's just wrapped in my head. I'm just like,
there is no vehicle worth $80,000, man, unless it could wake me up in the morning. I mean, you could probably get one
wake
to
you
do
up,
that.
like
and roll me out of bed and get me in the shower and walk me to my car.
Scrub.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I don't know, because inflation, it seems like, could skyrocket. Right? So, hey, I'm looking here at the balance of trade category, right? I mean, it shows here what you're talking about. This is this is balance of trade 2014 data. We get a lot of minerals, gas, and oil from Canada.
So a decade ago.
Yeah.
And now we're the world's largest producer, right?
You're right.
Or,
Right. 29% of petroleum comes from Canada in 2014. Wow.
I would guess that number is not out.
Yeah. I would imagine it's going way down.
I don't even know.
But
it's a little sticker shock, producer Tony, when you
yeah.
Dang. But yeah, I almost want to know what my higher ups are in their head thinking. They're not here this week, or they're not here the next week either. They're on business, but dude, I mean, that they have to see that or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, listen,
I'm the one that
Canada and Mexico import 56 to 60% of all their products.
Please don't tell me Mexico imports avocados. Joking.
Probably not. That's the one thing they don't, right?
Right. Bananas and avocados.
But that's considered really high. And so in Canada is really high. The US is not even in the top 25 of really imports. Even though we do a lot of imports, it's not considered per our size, it's not considered that drastic of a number. In the Bahamas, 59% of everything they do is imported. Canada's at 56. It just seems weird. But they export a lot too. So, wow, they are totally reliant on trade. No wonder they're so pissed off up north. Right? What that guy say? What did the Prime Minister of Alberta say? He's going to make America feel the pain. What he said.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, right. He was all mad. He was big hurt.
I'll tell you what. If they were trying to feel the pain, they definitely got it. I mean, legitimately, Tony, both countries are like, you're on your own. And what I mean by that is normally they kind of handle getting it cleared and getting it across and getting whatever. They're like,
yeah,
figure it out. And I already had, I was already kind of had that plan in place. But when you get told basically like, F you, you're like, what?
Well, and if you don't have your own broker and all that set up, right, David, that's a little painful process to go through.
Boom, dude, producer Tony, I wasn't even thinking about that.
That can be, that ain't going to be real quick. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yep. And we got that stern phone call on Wednesday from our broker. Like, you do understand. And I'm like, yep. I just, it is what it is. I get it. I get it. And like, it's, again, it's on you. Damn it, dude. Damn. All the time in my head, I'm doing what I can to save. And you're like, ouch. Just ouch. I don't know what anybody else is. If anybody else out there has experienced something like this, love to hear your stories. But on my side, good God. Man,
I've had some customers affected by it. And then some have not been. Some that import are. I have a customer that ships from South Korea, not affected by it at all.
There's a South Korea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Their product. They get it in. There's really no issues. So will not be, which is good for them. But I could see the impact of it. Holy cow, I'm right. So
if you're, it all plays in, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm not. We didn't get bonus this year, and based off of these tariffs, we damn sure ain't getting bonus next year. If you're lumping, you know what I'm getting at. When you have to lump 25% more onto whatever, like, well, guess we're not getting the bonus,
right?
And I'm not trying to sound agree. I don't know if greedy is the right word, but I'm not. You're like, oh man, maybe we'll get a bonus. No, guess we're not. Because that's got to go somewhere. It's frustrating, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yep. It's they got to figure it out. Maybe the big boys and big girls hopefully can figure this all out. And my hunch is once the sticker shock, right, like you're talking about, cycles through the process, I think people will be like, whoa, we got to talk about this.
Yep. I think you nailed it.
Which they already are. So, but I mean, I guess what Trump said was he didn't think Trudeau's deal was good enough, so they're going to go back to the negotiation again. So, so hopefully, and they do get us on some stuff, right? So, hey, you want to see it done right, but maybe they could work these things out in a different manner, right? So, but if there's a $350 billion that we give them, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you need it. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure all that out, and wasn't
me either.
hired to either. So
makes my brain hurt.
It does, but I think my gut tells me something will work. It'll level out somehow, that they'll come to the table.
And I get there's always been tariffs. I completely understand all that. And like you mentioned, just that sticker shock. Ooh. Damn. Ouch. Ouch.
I think the enforcement a little bit too is, which I like, but I mean, you got to set some stuff up for that, and we're not going to see the ramifications of that right away. But I think that's try to get people here to produce and start more businesses, right?
You're right, and fair, but like my point earlier, I'm all for everybody prospering and doing well, but that a vehicle costs this amount of money now, great, fine, all right then. But then is everybody going to be like, oh, I had to pay whatever for a $5 or for a 5-pound tin of mining fluid going to BFE, West Virginia? You're like,
right.
Yeah, but that's what it is now. I mean,
can you get it? Do you guys just sell it, or do you produce it?
Both.
Can you produce it?
We produce it. Yeah, we produce it.
You just can't produce enough, right? Is that what it is, or you don't?
No, we can't. No, we can produce enough. It's the production. The production part, or the transportation part, like on a time-wise basis, isn't the issue. It's now going to be the cost of,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the cost of the producing and the
right. To get your materials to produce it. Yeah.
Right. Again, that's why we're on the verge of losing that huge customer, like probably 10 truckloads a week, probably.
Wow.
And you're like, where's that go, dude? I mean, where does that go if you lose that business because of a penny pinched here and a penny pinched there, and that you have to add to your cost, not only for the value of the product, but also to manufacture the product, and then again also to move the product. They're going to be like, something's got to give here,
right? So the ultimate cost could be more than 25%, right?
Touche.
Yeah. And probably will be.
Yeah, probably, but at the cost of what, though? I mean, never, ever want anyone to ever lose a job. Never want anybody to lose a job.
No, not at all. Gosh, man, hope that doesn't occur. No. Yeah. Hopefully they can get this worked out pretty quick, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Big Ten tournament season. Producer Tony, the women going on right now.
Coming up.
I'm not sure where we're at as far as how deep into the tournament we are. I'm going to assume this is day 3 is what I'm going to assume of the Big Ten tournament, and then next women's, and then next week is probably the men's Big Ten tournament, and then legit 2 weeks from this week, I'm pretty sure we're in the NCAA or the start of the 64, I guess, and I'm pretty sure it's 2 weeks from this week, but I could be wrong.
Keep
It's
talking
that
for a
time,
minute.
man.
I gotta let
The
the
weather.
dog.
I mean, what I'm getting at with this, where I'm going with this a little bit, is that the weather's warming up. It's Big Ten tournament time. First day of spring is a couple weeks away, and then baseball already preseason going on. It's we had a little bit of a lull there with sports, but it's kind of back up. Purdue played last night. I'm not sure
Did
if
they win?
won.
They played Illinois.
I don't know. They played Illinois. Yeah. I'm
Let's
not
see.
sure.
I'm gonna look it up, big boy.
Not sure what happened as far as the game is concerned.
They should have won that game.
It was
they
at
lost.
Illinois, but it was at Illinois, dude. I mean,
They
home
lost.
No surprise.
88-80.
No surprise. I mean, okay.
Wow.
All right.
Who's in charge of the Big Ten? Who's in control of the Big Ten right now?
Is it Michigan State?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Wow. Tom Izzo.
And at least listening to the people that I work with, they're like, well, they haven't played nobody. You're like, well, yeah, they have. They played the whole Big Ten. What do you mean they haven't played nobody? That's the damn dumbest thing I ever heard.
Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that? Like, it's so funny.
No matter, because to your point, though, I mean, where I'm getting at with Purdue, there's no doubt in my mind they would have lost because it was at Illinois. I don't care what your record is or whatever. And Illinois is a decent ball club. But when you're on someone else's field or on someone else's court, hell yeah, you're at a disadvantage anywhere in the Big Ten. I don't care where you're at. Anywhere in the Big Ten, you're at a disadvantage.
Well,
period.
Yeah. And Purdue to have, to come back and have a good season like this is a pretty good deal. Wow. I guess I didn't realize that Michigan had a pretty good year too. Huh. But that saying you're talking about happens though, because like you have SEC fans saying, "Oh yeah, Big Ten's not that. They just had a lucky year," and the Alabama, Georgia, you know what I mean? They're all like, "Hey, we just had an off year," because it was like, who did Ohio State really play? Right? They were all about that, and it's like, well, they played everybody that had a better record.
Notre Dame, mother effers,
and they beat your team, Texas, from the SEC. Well, we don't know if Texas was really the best. Well, they beat everybody in your fucking conference. So, I mean, they got the play, and and then it was the whole Notre Dame thing where oh man, they got lucky, right? And it's like Notre Dame went on the same path everybody else fucking did. So, I mean, it's like, so if you were a Midwest person, you probably enjoyed the NCAA football tournament more than the rest of the country because you had 3 of the 4 teams from the Midwest. But I really enjoyed that football playoff. It was really good. And this NCAA is the mega of all, right? So,
and I'm pretty sure that's 2 weeks from now. I'm fairly certain that the first round is probably 2 weeks from this past Thursday, is what I'm guessing, or what I think in my head is probably about.
Time. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it. Yeah, it starts here. Let's see here. I was trying to look at the rankings. College basketball. I haven't really.
As far as top 25 rankings.
Yeah, I was trying to look at.
Yeah.
Here it is. So you got Auburn's number 1, Duke number 2, Houston number 3, Tennessee.
Okay.
Don't get to the Big Ten until
say you got some SEC right up front there. So
Oh, Michigan State at 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Wisconsin, Purdue 18th. I figured Illinois would be in the top 25. They're not. Wow.
Yeah, I would think so. I would have thought so also.
But see, they always got to get these. They always got to stick these SEC teams in. If you ever notice, like at the beginning of college football, I always laugh at this, and then nothing, no offense to SEC fans, but it's true. So if you like preseason, like Mississippi State will be ranked like 18th or 16th, right? And then you'll have all of them will be ranked pretty much. LSU, all of them will be ranked in the top 20. So and then Georgia or Alabama will be ranked 1 or 2. And then Georgia or Alabama will play Mississippi State, who shouldn't be ranked in the top 20. They just are because they're in the SEC. Then they'll beat them, and then that'll be a quality win. So I think they load them up in there so that those wins become quality. And then by the end of the season, you notice they're not even ranked. And you're like, what the hell? Yeah. You're like, what the hell happened, man? You know, and then I don't know, man. They just need to get rid of, I think, these bullshit games.
I always remember Temple. It seemed like Temple was always like top 5 ranked early in the season, and at the end of the year, you're like, where the hell are you at, or whatever, because they never finished up there. Or whatever.
Who did you say?
Temple.
Oh yeah, with John Chaney.
Yep, good coach, well coached or whatever, but always kind of early in the year, kind of overly hyped, and you're like, is this really that school? And then nope.
They were just dying for him to win the NCAA tournament, but he just could never do it, right? And it's like, and then he was a hothead too. Remember, he'd get pissed off.
Yeah, I loved his sweaters.
Oh yeah,
remember he would wear those kind of gaudy. I don't know if gaudy is the right word, but whatever sweaters. Yeah, he was.
I always felt they were trying to pump St. John's up too.
Yeah, Lou Carnesecca.
Yeah,
right?
Always trying to pump them up. Yeah,
I think that was the coach there.
Yeah, Lou Carnesecca. Yeah, great coach, man. He put him on the map.
And there's still, I mean, a little bit now too with St. John's, because Patino's there, which I don't understand, but whatever. I mean, yeah. Awesome.
Standards.
Right.
Yeah. Brother, I got to pick up the fam.
Producer Tony, it's been a pleasure this Saturday morning. Always right, probably right at an hour or just a hair over an hour. Good to be safe in your travels to the airport. Not too many better airports than Indy.
Easy, very easy to get in and out.
So will you be there waiting on them, honking the horn like, come on, get your ass in the car? I'm joking.
I try to time it up because what's cool about the airport is they have that waiting zone. And they can text you when they get their luggage, and then you can just pull right up. So I'm imagining
cell phone lot.
Cell phone lot. Right? The old cell phone lot. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Good talking to you. Appreciate everybody listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. We are out, David. Take care, brother.
See you, brother.
All right.